Super Mario Land, Nintendo's first attempt at a 2D platformer on a handheld. Probably because an employee wanted their kids to stop yelling when in the back of the car. But yeah, this game is mostly forgotten about and usually placed low in rankings and reviewed mostly as a stepping stone video game. But what about if, just for a moment, we look at Super Mario Land again? Not as a game to be forgotten, but as its own little fun romp, shall we? But before getting too far into it, make sure to subscribe as we're nearly at 1,000 subs and it really motivated me to make a Discord and drink G Fuel on it, but let's begin. Firstly, let's get the two worst things about this game out of the way first, starting with the items, with there only being the Mushroom, Super Ball, and Star. So the thing about it is in Super Mario Bros. 1, which, while disappointing and a bit boring, is understandable as, for one, there's only like 12 levels in this game. What more power-ups could you possibly need? And secondly, this was also the first 2D platform Nintendo made for a handheld system, and also back then, up until Super Mario Bros. 3, there basically was barely any items, so that is also understandable as this was basically the testing ground. But another thing is the controls. Let's just say they're, definitely aged, as for one, when Mario steps off a platform, he falls like a bag of bricks. And if you want to drop slowly, then you actually need to jump off the platform, as to not plummet like you're a bomb. And the physics is... well, it's definitely from its time, but it's not unplayable. It's janky today, but after a minute or two, you could get used to it. And overall, the physics aren't terrible. They aren't terrible, and it rarely feels like you died from it being unfair BS, and instead a misstep in most instances, as on occasion, especially with the smaller platforms, it does feel a bit iffy. Yes, the physics have aged a bit, but they're still fully playable. But now, onto what I actually like about the game. And so, most importantly, the level design. And because there's literally only 12 levels, I feel like I can talk about them all, even if briefly. Starting with 1-1, which is a standard level, not having much in terms of hard platforming, and overall being a good warm-up stage. 1-2 is another very solid platforming level, and the Bum Buns, aka the Beast, aren't terrible, especially up the Super Ball item, but the platform here is of good quality and most importantly, fair. 1-3 is a pretty neat level with Egyptian theming, and the platforming here is neat with, no bullshit. And here, the boss is also pretty simple, but can give you a challenge if you're not prepared for at least a few seconds and just decide to bum rush him. 2-1, very solid platforming stage, nothing else to say. 2-2 is like an upgraded 2-1, with tougher platforming yet still reasonably fair, with the platforms and enemies not being unfair. And next up, one of my favorites, 2-3, is such fun because this level you're playing it as a bullet hell minigame. And so the stage is a good example of how Mario could do a bullet hell stage. As the enemies here aren't bullshit, and honestly, it's just kind of fun to fly around blasting the enemies, trying to dodge the enemies, because this is an auto-scroller obviously. And also, it feels like a dogfight, and it's awesome, and the boss here is also fun to blast away and kill. Now, 3-1 has a sort of annoying enemy in the Bataton. Bataton? Whatever. Which have a kind of random movements, like the bloopers. But they're manageable. And besides, the platform here, which, yeah, good, whatever. Platforming, good here. But the rock part is kind of boring. You just kind of stand still and wait to jump on the next rock. But it's not too long, it's just a bit meh. Now, 3-2, probably one of my favorite platforming levels in this game. And yeah, the platforming is really solid here as it's rather difficult yet not unfair platforming, and it kind of requires decent amount of patience, and the enemies here also give a decent challenge, even if the falling spike here is a bit random, like, okay, why are you here? And the rock part is also kind of meh, whatever. But anyways, good level. 3-3 is, yeah, good platforming, whatever, you don't want to hear it again. But yeah, the boss is also here kind of meh, you just jump into rocks until you can jump over him to beat the stage, so yeah, yeah, probably worst boss in this game. 4-1 and 4-2, yeah, both good platforming levels, you don't need to hear it again. And finally, 4-3 was another bullet hell minigame type stage, and yeah, it was fun again, as the enemies here were also a bit tougher, and the level was also fun, just flying around, shooting everything like you were in a dogfight, and Tatanga was like an actual dogfight against a heavily armored bomber. And yeah, that was a fun and fair fight. Even if it was semi-hard, it was still very much fair and very much fun. But yeah, that's every level. And yeah, there's no bad levels here, honestly. And being real, some levels here are surprisingly long. Like, for the first handheld 2D Mario game on a Game Boy, these levels deadass feel like new Super Mario Bros. Wii levels because of how long they are. But yeah, fun levels and good bosses. And a small thing I like is the 2-goal system, where if you hit the harder end of stage point, you can get 1-ups or a Super Ball Flower, which I think is nice, and it was recreated nicely in Super Mario Land 2, but yeah, it's a fun gimmick that I like. And there's a thing about this game I should bring up. And there is a thing I should bring up about this game, and that is that this game was definitely not intended to play at home on a couch, and like most handheld Mario games, these games are ROMs, these games are meant for continued pick 'em and play, and instead these games are intended so you can give your kid who's in the back of the car and just needs to shut up. And this game is just that. It's a very good distraction that holds up as its own game, as a ROM meant for short plays. It's a pleasure to play through, and that's why I think Super Mario Land is fun. Is it short? Absolutely. But it's fun, and the content here is also very solid and very quality. So, my final rating here is, given that there's no bad levels, the bosses here are good, and whilst the physics are top tier, perfection, flawless, buttery smooth, this game is still very good, and one of its sins being that it's, just very short. This game, I give a 7 out of 10 in the content department, as yeah, sure, the content is 7 out of 10, but maybe be more fair to give it like a 6 out of 10, but I don't know, it's a very fun ROM, very good game design. 6.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, whatever. This is a very good game. But, alas, that's the end of the video. If you like what you saw, like and subscribe. And if not, tell me why in the comments, and I'll see y'all later.